On to round four. We continue. I don't like Friday's cards. All four of these teams are just teams that continue to disappoint their fans. I know Toluca shouldn't be on that list, but at least to me they are. They choke quite often, not as much as Cruz Azul, but nonetheless they still choke. Their first game was at Querétaro, and that ended up being a draw. I had Toluca in that game, but they didn't look so good that game. They were chasing Querétaro the whole time. They were chasing the score. They managed to rescue a 2-2 draw. Second game, they're at home and they take on a very weak Mazatlan. End up getting the job done 4-1. Great job on them. Now for this one, I think it ends in a draw. I still don't like what I saw in that Querétaro game. That's just my opinion on it. That, and from what I remember from the lines were, I'm talking about the handicap lines. So when they played Querétaro, you could have chose Querétaro on the money line, gotten some big plus money, or you could have also taken them plus 1.5, and you would have won that bet because the game ended up being a draw. So you got an extra 2 goals in your, or basically an extra goal and a half in your back pocket if you would have chose that Querétaro handicap. Against the game in Mazatlan, they had the same thing. Mazatlan a big favorite, and Mazatlan with a plus 1.5. That would have still lost anyway because Toluca ended up covering that, winning 4-1. So it didn't really matter. They ended up winning by more than two. So I'm not seeing any handicap for Puebla. So something is definitely off here. They predict this to be a very high scoring game. They have the lines quite expensive for your both teams to score. Minus 172. It's not something I want to pay for. The over is more likely here. But I still think this game ends up in a draw. I do find it a little bit strange that if Toluca is this much of a heavy favorite, why aren't they giving you the option like for a Puebla plus 1? Last 5 meetings of these two teams, 2 wins from Toluca, 1 win from Puebla, and 2 draws. So that's what's been going on the last 5. And then Puebla did manage to get a win at Toluca on a Sunday, when all the advantages are supposed to be for Toluca. They ended up winning that game, but Puebla last year I think was probably a lot better than this Puebla, especially this time around, But Puebla lost a few players, so that explains it pretty much. And I don't know, Toluca's just a thorn in my side sometimes. Sometimes they just disappoint. Sometimes they end up falling short in the spots that they're supposed to just win. They don't do it. I thought they had it against Querétaro, but they didn't. So, hey, if you like Toluca or any side, if you like anything here, Puebla, Toluca, or even the draw, I don't blame you. This one, again, is a tough one. It's two teams that love to disappoint. So I'm just going to go, I think Toluca comes up short here. Draw. But I'm also going to take a lean towards the over, just in case the score isn't exactly in my back pocket like that. Because if this game ends up 1-1, I lose that bet too. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's also another 2-2. Hell, it was already a 2-2 draw against Querétaro. But Puebla has not scored much this season already in these last 2 games. So I think I might actually switch to the under. I think under might be a better play, just because if any goals come through here, it's probably just going to be Toluca. If it's a 1-1 draw, that also it stands in my favor. But they predict both of these teams to score, so I don't know. It might end up being 2-1 one of these teams. I'm hoping 2-2. But with all, a bunch of these lines are just all they look very, very off. They look very, very ugly. So I'm just gonna go with a draw and take my shot with it. Very ugly game. 2 disappointing teams. 2 teams that continue to let their fans down. So if you guys have another angle, let me know.